States, it ultimately comes down to a contest of what is governance. Who is governed? Which countries are governed well? And if so many of these countries around the world are incapable of governing themselves, then it's time for us to just put the imperial hat back on to say, we're going to govern those countries if you're incapable of governing yourselves, because enough is enough. We're done being invaded.
Because our own national security risk is at stake.
Exactly.
National security interests are at stake.
You can say that about pretty much all of Africa. They're incapable of governing themselves and benefiting their citizens because the governments there are all about looting and pillaging and lining their pockets and going shopping in Paris instead of actually making their country better.
People on the left are going to watch this. They're going to say, wait a minute, Erik Prince is talking about being a colonialist again.
Absolutely. Yes. Enough. Because if you go to these countries and you see how they suffer under absolutely corrupt, made-up governments that are just criminal syndicates, the people of Africa, the people of Latin America, a lot of them deserve better. Now, some countries are really getting it together. Look at what El Salvador did. Bukele, murder capital of Latin America, he said, no more. Now El Salvador is safer than Prince William County. And he took just south of Washington, D.C. He put all the MS-13 guys in prison. Ecuador, about to do the same thing. New president there. The previous presidential candidate had been assassinated, but new guy gets elected. He announces he's contracted with the same building contractor that they built the prisons in El Salvador, going to build them in Ecuador. The prisoners there, the cartels revolt and try to take over the capital in Ecuador a couple weeks ago. So it's not all bad. There's some great governance. I like at Argentina. God bless Milei. I mean, yes. So, but the countries that cannot fix themselves, particularly in Africa, the worst, it's time to think about other governance options because they are clearly not capable of self-government.
The countries in Africa that cannot fix themselves. See, that's quite interesting that you would hear Erik Prince say those things because, and y'all do know that his sister is Betsy DeVos, who served as the education secretary under Donald Trump. This shows that she's an idiot and her brother's an idiot because they don't know anything about American history. In fact, I'm going to use one particular country y'all heard me just mention, the Congo. There's a book, great conversation. Go to the Black Table discussion with Dr. Greg Carr on the Black Star Network, and he had a phenomenal conversation with Stuart Reed. Stuart Reed is the author of this book. This book is called The Lumumba Plot, The Secret History of the CIA and a Cold War Assassination. Stuart Reed details in this book that Lumumba came to the United States and during one of his visits after he became prime minister. And in a particular meeting, President Dwight Eisenhower gave the order to assassinate Lumumba, to take him out. It is documented by some that this was the first time in American history where a president gave a direct order to take out a foreign leader. I don't believe that's the case, though. So here they are. They get their independence from Belgium. 2 months in, the CIA and others work to kill Lumumba. Here you murder, you align with his opponents, you kill him, the country goes into chaos, leads to Mobutu becoming a dictator. Let me say it again. We helped put a dictator in office, and that country is still trying to gain its footing since it got its independence. What would the Congo look like today had the United States not aligned with others to take out Patrice Lumumba in the Congo? Let's go on to some other countries. Folks in the control room, pull up a book called Overthrow. Folks, the author is Stephen Kinzer. And I'll see if I can pull it up myself. Stephen Kinzer, longtime New York Times writer. He wrote a particular book that all of you need to read, and it's called Overthrow. The book details the 13 examples where the United States directly overthrew other governments. Oh, y'all don't hear me. Y'all don't hear me. 13 different times the United States actually overthrew other governments. Yeah. What I'm saying is absolutely correct. So here we are talking, here's Erik Prince talking about these other countries and how they now have all of these problems, and we must take these countries over in order to get them under control because these people can't govern themselves. Yet we, the United States, play a role in making this happen. This is the book right here, Overthrow: America's Century of Regime Change from Hawaii to Iraq. We can detail what took place in Libya. We can talk about what happened in Guatemala. Are y'all aware, Kinzer writes it in his book, that the Panama Canal originally was not supposed to go through Panama. That was supposed to go through another country. But the United States told that country, oh, in order for you to finance the canal, you have got to use American banks. The country said, no, we're good. We got a better deal with European banks. So the United States, along with the PR company, created this entire story that was a lie, that there was a particular volcano in this country that hadn't erupted in centuries, somehow could erupt, and that will destroy the canal. That's how it was built in a canal. In fact, let me just go ahead and stay on Panama. Noriega was running drugs in Panama. Guess who payroll Noriega was on? The CIA's. Come on. Do y'all even know where the phrase banana republic comes from? The phrase banana republic comes from United States and other countries overthrowing governments because the plantation owners control the land. They control the country. So the phrase a banana republic comes from, again, the overthrow of governments, to aid economics. Let's not talk about Chile. Kinzer details that ITT, one of the first global companies, called the CIA and said, hey, we'll pay for y'all to overthrow Chile. They said, hold up now, we ain't really down for that yet. So they told ITT, thanks, but no thanks. They then came back a couple of years later when Allende became the president. Allende said, wait a minute. Why are we sitting here, all these other companies controlling telecommunications, controlling all of our economics? Allende says, we're going to nationalize this. America, oh hell no. Whoa, hold up. You talking about you going to nationalize all this stuff? That means these American companies not going to keep making all this money? No, hell no. Guess what we did? Call ITT. We overthrow Chile, got rid of Allende, put in Pinochet, who killed millions of folks. America did that. I'm sorry. Why were the Iranians so pissed off at us in 1979? The story that we've all been taught, the Iranians, the Ayatollah, Khomeini, the crazy rabbit Muslims, they took over the country, want to destroy our freedoms. See, you can't talk about 1979 and the hostage crisis if you skip over 1953, 26 years earlier. And now you might say, well, Roland, well, okay, well, what happened 26 years earlier? Well, there was a democratically elected prime minister. His name was Mossadegh. Mossadegh said, I don't understand. How is all of this oil ours? And we only get like 5 to 7% of the money. Why is British Anglo-Iranian oil, now known as BP, how are they taking all the money? So Mossadegh said, no, we keeping our oil to rebuild our country. The British said, oh, hell no, no, you not. Because y'all got to understand, the British economy had been taken. All of that Iranian oil was paying for the British economy. They said, no, you not. Oh, no, you not. But see, the British, y'all, the British wasn't trying to go as far as overthrowing the government in Iran. The United States went, we'll do it. We got y'all. So the United States began to distribute flyers in the country, pushing out misinformation in Iran against Mossadegh. Took out Mossadegh, put in a general. The general wouldn't do what America said. We then took the general out, and we then said, here's the Shah. So we put in the Shah of Iran. Put the Shah of Iran in, then we, our CIA, trained the Shah's thugs. So the Shah's thugs that were beating down on people all across the country, put them in place. Now do the math. If you were 18 years old in 1953, by the way, Iran loved America. Iran loved America. After this, Iran hated America. So you 18 years old in 1953. You 10 years old in 1953. Well, 26 years later, you 36, you 44. So the uprising in 79 can be traced back to 1953. Chavez, when he became president of Venezuela, oh, hell no, don't you dare nationalize the oil. Company called Citgo. You ain't doing that. Don't you do that. Y'all, we could run through a list of South American countries. I ain't even mentioned us wanting to take over Cuba. We can run through South American countries, Latin American countries. We can run through African countries. We can go through the Middle East, and we will show. Y'all heard in the thing, he said, America's national interests. We, the United States. See, this is the stuff they never wanted to teach us in school. One of the reasons why you have instability all over the country is because you had the United States, John Foster Dulles, Allen Dulles. Yeah, Dulles Airport, named after one of them. They were the ones, Secretary of State, running the CIA, and that was American foreign policy. Take your pick. Nicaragua, Guatemala, Panama, Venezuela, Mexico, on and on and on. So all of the countries that Erik Prince is now saying they can't run their country, it's because we along with the French and the British, destabilized those countries, destabilized the leadership by taking the leadership out, paid for overthrows and coups in those countries, and now we trying to say, I don't know how y'all don't know how to act, I don't know how y'all don't know how to run your own country, when we the ones who actually created the very destabilization that we're talking about today.